Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Made with Love. My name is Heather, and last night I was at Dollarama and I got a couple of Valentine things I'm going to do some Valentine crafts with. So first I found one of these little hanging love signs and it was $2. I also found this little pack of these wooden hearts. This pack is a pack of 100 and this was $2. They had another pack, they had different packs, different amounts, but I went with this one, had the most number of hearts in it. Some of the packs had less hearts and they were bigger. So I wanted a good assortment of different sizes just because I'm not quite sure what I was going to do with them. And I also got these little nail stickers. I love these little things, for every season. Only $1.25 for a pack of 30. So that was a good deal. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sign out to my garage and I'm just going to spray paint it red. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I just figure I might as well just do that first. So also when I'm out in the garage, I'm going to grab a tool and see if I can get these little staples out up here. I guess I'll grab a little screwdriver. If I can't get them out, I will just cut the string off. But I prefer to try to pull out the staples if possible. Sometimes just pulling on the string. But no, this one's in there pretty tight. So I'll be back as soon as I get this spray painted. Right, so I was trying to get it out. I cannot get anything that will go down and pull them out. So I just took my little X-Acto knife and I just scraped over the tops and I got rid of all the string. I'm just trying to see if I can just get something to go in there. Is up in the garage. I cannot figure out where my husband put the tools, but I think that's going to be good enough. I mean, I'm not making it for hanging. It's going to be sitting. I think once it's sprayed, it's probably not going to be noticeable. If I felt like I wanted to, or if I thought it was going to be noticeable, I do have wood filler or the putty. I could just put a little bit of that in. But I think just by taking this and just smoothing it out, or even, let's see, where's my little nail file, just kind of filing it down because I just kind of made a little mark. Just want to make the heart a little more rounded now. Just make this a little more flat. Just by sanding that down, I think that's just really helped. And it's smooth, so I don't even feel the nail. It's not noticeable, or I guess it would be staple. Do the same thing if you get like staples and nails from the dollar store. Sometimes they are just such a pain and I cannot get them to come out. But like I said, if I thought that was going to be more noticeable, then again, I would just put a little bit of wood filler or putty on there and let it dry and sand. But because I'm going to spray paint these, I think it's going to be okay. And I was also having trouble getting this sticker off. I don't know where my little scraper tools are. Everything is getting really packed. So less and less of my art supplies I have access to. So I've just had the bottle and it was just sitting here. So I'll just be right back. I'm just gonna get that glue gone and show how easy it is to take these labels off with the glue gone. Okay, so I'm just gonna take the glue gone. I'm just gonna pour it directly on here. Oops, make sure I don't drip on the floor. And then I just rub it, and it's supposed to help peel it off. It usually does. It's these stickers from the dollar store. I don't know. Sometimes they come off easily and sometimes they just don't want to move. I've just got my X-Acto knife, just trying to see if I can get under there and just start a section, and it just, there. It's going to come off in little strips for me today. That's okay, because I said it's going to be spray painted. Like I said, sometimes these labels just, especially on this type of board, this MDF type board, are some of the hardest ones to get these labels off. But once I get a little bit of the Goo Gone and the X-Acto knife and just kind of get it under the sticker. Like I said, I have a couple of different scraper tools that I love, but again, they are packed. And I was at the dollar store and I was tempted to buy one, but I'm like, I have them. I don't want to go and buy anything more. So my daughter and we were at the mall yesterday and we were looking at stuff and we saw some puzzles and some Lego kits and I said, we don't have time to make puzzles or Lego right now. And I said, it would just be one more item we'd have to just pack. So I said, I'd rather wait till we've moved before we buy anything else, unless it's absolutely necessary. This is gonna be a while getting this off. Sometimes these labels are easy to peel and then sometimes they just don't want to come off. Oh shoot. And I just spilt the Goo Gone on my desk here. So I'm just going to continue. Oh, there we go. Did that? No, it doesn't want to work. This is just one of those times just to show that it does take a while to get these stickers to come off. Not as easy, and I know there's a lot of people who make crafts and they just leave them on for that purpose. But I just think if you're making this something as a gift, you know, it might take an extra 5 or so minutes to get the label, you know, price tags off. I think it's worth it. This is just, I don't know, their new labels are just really, really plasticky, and it's just really hard to get under that first little bit of plastic. But once you get under the plastic, it should peel off a lot easier. There we go. So I'm just going to continue to get this label off. Almost got it now. Like I said, this is just one of these boards. I don't want to get this board wet. Depending, if it was plastic, I could just run it under hot soapy water. But because it's this MDF board, it's a little trickier. And then I'm just going to take my little file. I'm just going to file this a little bit smooth, just to make sure I got all the stickiness off. There. Like that. The label is finally off. It's taken some time. I said, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this. Just know I'm going to paint it red and then just figure out from there what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go paint this red and I will be right back. Alright, so just going to give it a quick coat of this red spray paint. I don't know what it is. It just says it's painted spray paint, interior, exterior, ideal for wood and metal. And say based on this. Oh, it's from 2014. So that's from Walmart. So that tells you this paint has been around for almost 10 years. It's time to get used up. I'm just gonna give it a nice even coat. I'm just doing the back side first, just so then where any of the Goo Gone dripped onto the front, it's got some more time to dry. I just want to try to get inside on all the edges. It's tricky to do. One nice quick even coat. so I'm going to let that dry. Oops, just a spot right there. I'm going to let that dry, and I'll be back in a couple hours and flip it over and paint the other side. Right, I actually decided that I've got some of these hearts. I don't know what size these are, and I don't know how many I want to do. So I'm just going to grab a few of each of the different sizes here. And I'm also going to, maybe I'll do like 3, or I'll do 4 of each size. There seems to be like a large, medium, and a small. So if I do, another one this size, so I'll spray paint some of these. There's a lot of these small ones, but I think 4 of each should be a good start to spray in this red color. Like I said, I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with this sign yet. I've got a couple different ideas. Just haven't fully decided. But I've got the spray paint. I might as well spray paint these. It'll be so much faster than like hand painting them. There, just a light. So. There, so I'll just give that some time to dry, and I'll flip those over and I'll paint the other sides when I come back to paint the other side of the love sign. And so it's been a few hours. I'm going to flip all these over and paint the other side. Like I said, I still wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with these other little wooden hearts, but I decided I might as well just spray some of them red as well. Just flipping one over. I'm almost out of spray paint. I'm just trying to use what I have left in the garage. I'm just hoping I have enough to get this done. I do have another can of red spray paint. If I feel like digging through that stack of boxes to get to the one that's inside the bigger box at the very bottom of that pile without knocking the ladders over and hitting my car. I almost did that this morning trying to get this can out. So now I'm just going to spray this. I think that's going to be, good enough. I can always just, if I think I need more, I'll just go and get the other can. But I think there, a little more's coming out now. That's what I wanted, just to get some of these letters a little bit more red. But I guess that's probably all I'm going to be able to get. So I'm just going to let this dry for a few more hours, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've got it spray painted on both sides, and the tops where the little staples are, they're okay because it's going to be sitting up on the shelf, so I'm not too worried about it. But what I decided I want to do is I like the heart, the shiny, but I want to do something to the other letters. So I'm just going to trace the whole thing out here. Don't really need the heart traced out, but I want to do the letters with some scrapbook paper. So I'm just going to trace around here. I want to make each letter I want to do each letter a different scrapbook design. It's tricky trying to get around this. I don't need to trace around the heart, but I'm just going to, just because if I decide to buy another one of these, then I've got a template already made. And it's still just a little tacky, and I thought it had completely dried the number of hours it's been sitting out there drying, but I guess it's a little cooler in my garage than I thought it was. So I've kind of got an outline, or at least a basic outline of the letters. Now I'm just going to fill in each of the spaces here, like where the letters kind of overlap. And just this, the L and the E, they kind of overlap in that little spot. I'm not quite sure how I want to do that yet. And I'm just gonna let my dog in because I hear her scratching at the door. So I'll just, 1 second. Okay, so now I've got my scissors, so I'm just gonna cut this all out into the 4 letters. Straight. I'm going to start with the E. So I cut straight where the E is, and cut up here. There's probably easier ways of doing this, but I like this way. That way I can kind of make a little template, and then I can just trace this onto the scrapbook paper. And then from there I can trim it down. I just find it easier to have a little template rather than trying to trace on my the scrapbook paper directly from this. I mean, I've done it before on other ones, but I don't know, just do whatever you think is easier. I just like to have this, get a little template like this, and then so I got the first letter cut out, and then I can kind of just place it on here, and I can tell if it's too big, too small kind of a thing, but that's a pretty good size. And I don't mind if it's a little bit too big, because I will be going in after it's all like Mod Podged on, and I will be filing it. So that looks good. And I'll do the L, and then the E. And then I will find my pretty pink scrapbook paper. Decided to do these letters in pink and then have the heart stay red. And if I don't like it with that, I can always just go over with another scrapbook paper for the heart if I didn't like the way it looked. this right to there. Yep. It's a little bit big at the top, but that's, you know, it's okay. Kind of like how I wanted it. I wasn't going to cut out the heart one, but I'm just going to cut it out and test it. Yep. And then the last letter, the E. And like I said, this is just a little template, and when I get this all like Mod Podged on here, and then I will be sanding the excess off. It won't even be noticeable. If I do make my template just a little bit too big. So I'm just going to finish the E and get my scrapbook paper and trace these letters on that paper, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I went through these little mini books of the scrapbook paper, and I found 4 I really like that are just so light. They're almost white, so they're going to really make the red heart stand out. And one of them was the white with the little hearts on it, so I made that the V, so then they're corresponding across that way. And then I found the L and the E are going to be such a light little color. They're almost white. So that is what I've chosen. So what I did was, I've got the little templates. Now to do this, I'm tracing on the back of these. So when you trace on the back of these, also make sure that you flip your letters backwards as well. And then I just trace them and cut them out. Like I said, so now I've got the little templates. I'll save these. So if I bought another one of these heart blocks, and if I wanted to make another one, I've got my letters already made. I'm probably not going to, but you know, just in case I decide to, you know, if I was at the dollar store and saw them and decided I'd like to make another one, templates made. So now I'm just going to move this to here. I've got my Mod Podge. Just gotta grab the paintbrush. That's what I forgot to grab. And I did cut these out a little bit bigger, and I said that's okay. So I'm going to start with the letter, what do I want to put first? Yeah, I'm going to start with the letter V. Then the E will be over top, and then the L will be over top. Put on a good amount of Mod Podge here. And I don't really want it to drip down, but it's starting to drip right down inside. That's okay. I'm trying to avoid doing that. And the letter E. And this is scrapbook paper, so it is gonna take, you know, a little more Mod Podge than when I use my napkins. As the paper is thicker, it's also gonna take a little longer to dry. I usually find when I'm doing this, the technique of using the hair dryer to dry the glue doesn't work as good for me when I'm using the thicker cardstock versus the napkins. Doesn't go that high because I gotta keep the heart there. I can just, you know, with this it's a little bit easier to, you know, manipulate the paper than it is napkins. You know, napkins, once it's down, you can't slide it. This paper, when it's down, I can slide it a little bit. And then the L. And then I'll have to let this all dry. And then I will come back and I will do a layer of Mod Podge over on top. I'm just going to let this dry probably about half an hour before I come back in with a second coat of on top of the paper. I just usually find if I try to do it too fast, then the paper will curl. If you get the glue, too much glue on the top and the bottom, the paper might curl or flip up and it just doesn't look as good. And then also with this being thicker paper, I'm not so careful about when I do the other ones. I'm always have that my brush strokes are always going the same direction because they will be more noticeable, but this is over top of paper, or the paper's over top of that. When I do the Mod Podge on the top, I will go in one direction, but like that. So far, it's nice. I'm just gonna let this dry for about half an hour, and then I will put a layer of Mod Podge on top, let it dry for a few more hours, and then you can see, if I flip it this way, you can just barely see how much of an overhang I left myself. And then I can always find, even if I do overhang this amount, I can even get in here, so like with the X-Acto knife, and I can just cut it away from inside when it's all done. So I'm just gonna flip it up. Ow, that hurt. Something sharp just poked me. I don't know. Okay, so I'm just gonna let this dry for a bit. So I'll be back in a couple hours when it is ready to, trim away all the excess. So it's had a few hours for the Mod Podge to dry. I did put the coat of Mod Podge on the top half an hour after I let it kind of just sit there. Now flip it back, you can see how much of an overhang I have. And I'm going to grab my X-Acto knife, which was sitting right here just a second ago. Okay. I don't know where my cutting mat is right now tonight, so I've got this top of the egg tartan. I'm just gonna use this just because I don't know where my cutting boards kind of went right now, so see if it will work. So I'm just gonna follow the edge of the letters and just cut out some of this extra overhang. I'm not getting right beside the letters perfectly because I don't want to cut, but I just gotta get some of this extra overhang off. I'm cutting through some of this. Mod Podge makes it kind of tricky to cut through. But I don't want to peel it because I don't want to just do what I just did with this letter. I just kind of pulled and ripped that off. So I've got to be careful. But when I do a second coat of Mod Podge on the top, that will be corrected. So I'm trying to be extra careful. My little net file, which I didn't grab, and I'm just gonna do this and just see if this will help go faster. I don't know where my sanding block went, but there. And I just want to go the one direction, so I'm working from the top of the block and just filing straight down. I'm just gonna all around every letter. And then as I'm able to do that, it's gonna kind of slightly lift up, and you can slightly tear it away. So you wanna pull it, tear it down, not back up over the top. So much easier with the sanding block, but the problem is the sanding block doesn't get into these letters like this. So it's going to take a few minutes of sanding. Just taking my time, just around each letter. Just gotta say, just don't wanna I don't want to wreck it, so I'm just going to keep sanding, and I'll be back when I get that all sanded off. Right, so I got that all sanded, this side and from the back. You can see there's very little of that white paper showing. I'm going to say, I know I don't use this spray paint. It's that really cheap stuff from Walmart. And even though it's dry, if your fingers are wet or even some of this Mod Podge got on it, it is just sticky and still tacky in places. And I mean, it's almost 6:30 at night. I started spraying this, I think it was like at 9 o'clock this morning is when I sprayed this. So for it to still be tacky is just, I don't know, I don't understand. The noise behind me is my game, playing Sims 4 on the PS5. So I guess it was paused. Obviously the controller got bumped and it's unpaused now, and so you can hear my Sims talking. So I'm just gonna go turn the volume off or repause my game. All right, so now I've got this done. So now I've got a few red fingerprints on the L. That's okay, I'm just gonna leave them. I'm gonna add a little more stuff to this anyways. But now I'm just going to put on a final coat of Mod Podge over all these letters. So now that they are done, I really don't want the letters to come off, or the paper to come off the letters. I really want to get right at the sides so that the paper is not gonna get damaged and lifted off. And then I was playing around with the hearts, and I think I know what I'm gonna do. I kind of like the idea of this big one here and then doing a stack of the smaller hearts going between an unpainted and painted. Just give it a really neat 3D effect. I mean, it already has a really good 3D effect, but I think it would just kind of really help that. And I'm just going to get a little bit more glue right here because that's where I had tore the paper when I went around. It was a little too rough. And because this is my final coat, I am going very careful, and I'm getting all my brush strokes even and going the same direction. I know some people, I don't know what, some people who craft, they just don't seem to think about brush strokes on your final projects. I've missed some around that L. I've got some extra paper around the L that I can see that I missed. It was just hard to get in this one spot here coming around the L and then where the heart is. But I can fix that once this dries. And I'll just, and inside the V as well, it was just a little spot there that I kind of left it only because that's where I had damaged the paper, and I was worried if I just kept going around the V, I was really going to peel more of that paper off. And I'm just going to put a little bit of Mod Podge on the heart. I think it will just kind of help, you know, make it look more cohesive, and it might help prevent some more of this paint from coming off all over my hands. But then when it's, you know, I'm using, what's this? Oh, this is the matte. But more specifically, if I was using the gloss, I'll have these three being glossy and then the heart not. It doesn't always look very good, so you always think about that too. Always going over the Mod Podge with your papered parts if you think it's going to be noticeable. And then I'm going to figure out which of these hearts. I liked this unpainted one, and then a little painted one, and then another unpainted. Kind of liked this little pattern of hearts. Mod Podge is kind of holding that down in place. Maybe I'm just going to use a little bit of Mod Podge to hold the other ones in place. I'm going to go find my glue. Mod Podge is not glue, but at least I can get these kind of, you know, where I think I'd like them. With that. Kind of like that. And then I think because I've got some of this paint that kind of spilt where I didn't really want it. Let's see, one size bigger. Let's see. There, and then some more of these unpainted ones. So maybe do an unpainted and then a painted. You want it to be able to tell that that's the L, and we'll do a size smaller. There, sorry, the bottle of Mod Podge is right in the middle. So maybe I'll do something like that, and then I'll get another little down here at the E. That one's too big. I guess maybe just a small little painted heart here at the E, and do another little painted heart over here on the V. I guess that will look kind of cute. So I'm just going to go grab I'm just going to plug my hot glue gun in, and then I'll be back to finish this. Okay, so I'm going to glue these hearts down, kind of where I want them to go. Just kind of playing around with how I'd like them centered, I guess. The ones down here, but because this stands, I have to stand it up before I put the hearts, just so I know the hearts aren't going to be affecting it from standing. Like that. touch this one so now it won't stay. I think that's all I'll put on. Like that. I'm just gonna go set this on my fireplace mantle so you can see what it looks like. There it is. I'm trying not to get too close. I don't know, I've got weird shadows from the lights that are turned on in this room. But there's the little love sign. Again, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who's subscribing to my channels and watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next ones. Bye.